Hi everyone, we are now live with Miss Efu Nyaki. Um, and I will be introducing to all of you who she is and what we are going to be talking in today's live session. Miss Efu Nyaki is a somatic experiencing faculty member. She is also a teacher of the Family Constellation System Therapy. She is originally from Tanzania, east of Africa. She currently lives in Brazil, where she founded the AFYA, which is a holistic health center for women and their families. She works internationally teaching both family constellation and somatic experiencing and help healing all kind of traumas for people all across the globe. Welcome, Miss Efu.
Thank you very much, Pooja. I'm very glad to be here with you and with everybody else who comes up.
Yes.
Yes.
And do not forget that I have learned somatic experiencing and an ongoing training with Family Constellation with Miss Efu. And yeah, this is my teacher to present to all of you.
Very nice. Thank you. My pleasure.
How are you doing, Efu, today?
I'm doing great and I'm very happy. Here it's early morning, it's bright and wonderful, full of energy. It's great.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's amazing. So, Eva, in today's conversation, I was telling everybody that we're going to be talking about family constellation and what it is all about. So, would you want to tell us what this is?
Yes. Family constellation, Pooja and everybody else, is an effective short-term therapy, yeah, that has the potential to arrive at the root of problems in a very short time. A family constellation is done either in individual session or in a group session. When it's done in the group session, there is an interaction between the representatives. We usually pick up the representative for your own problem that you're bringing up. And when you watch the dialogue between the representative, suddenly you get a clue of what is happening in your own problems, and then you start noticing what is the solution, and it is very quick. It's like there's an underlying problem, underlying conflict that we are not aware of, and over suddenly this is start happening. You start observing it. But I want to mention one thing that is also very important though. Family constellation, it does have you watch the phenomena, yeah. You have to look at the whole, the whole content of the problem. It's like a holistic way of looking at things.
Yes.
And then you also need to look at the phenomena that happen. And this is why when you hear the interaction and the movement of the representative, then you begin to understand what is going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And maybe I will also mention in the individual, what do we do? It's the same thing. Like we are working in the group, we also use some representative of the objects. And
Yes.
it's amazing that the objects begin to interact because of the energy field that we are working with in the family constellation itself. It's great. That's wonderful. That's how I can define it in a very short paragraph, let's say that. Mhm.
Wow. So, what are the kind of conditions that can be addressed with family constellation?
My goodness. Family constellation is a founder of this therapy is Bert Hellinger from Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and he actually learned this therapy. He found this, like I would say, learned it. He's a founder, of course, of which whom I honor a lot. Yeah, he found this from working with the indigenous people, the tribal people in South Africa, Zulu people, because he went there as a missionary, and when he immersed himself in the tribal people, where he learned about their cultural way of living and interacting with one another, and he found out that life, it's actually it life reveals itself in its own way. So if there's any conflict in the community, in the family, he saw on how the resolution happened through the interaction with one another in the community. So really, your question about what kind of conflicts that are addressed in the family constellation, it's so broad because it's almost about everything in life. Yeah, if you are having a conflict with your own members of the family in any way, in any direction, you can resolve it, the family constellation. Then, but it doesn't end there though, because when you have a conflict with your family members, this means that when you leave your family and you go out to the world, I call it to the world, huh? You
Mm,
go out now to relate with other people who are not your family members. You actually end up to duplicate, huh? Whatever, however, whatever behavior you bring in from your own family, you take it to other people in your work, in your spouse, yeah, in your friends. You just reproduce that, and then your life becomes quite unbearable, because you feel like, in my family I have this conflict, I come here, I have this conflict, what is this? So
mm,
many conflicts. So I mean, to mention a few, um, and say like relational conflicts,
mm,
how to relate with one another.
mm,
Another thing I think you can actually uh, find out, it's like problem with your work. Yeah, you have difficulties with your work, you have difficulties with
mm,
financial earnings. You have, even when you earn, you don't know what to do with it, or it just kind of disappear from your hands.
mm,
Yeah, and you have difficulties also with your health, your physical, emotional, spiritual health. This is why I say I can go on and on mentioning really what falls under this category. And so it's a lot of conflicts that can be addressed with family constellation.
Interesting, because what you're saying totally makes sense with that, that we always carry our energy, and our energy also comes from who we belong, and where we go and who we meet. So we do carry this everywhere, and if we do not resolve what comes from and makes us, that is our family, then we're definitely going to be carrying this energy wherever we go. Wow, that almost answers a lot of questions that a lot of our viewers had sent when I told them that we're going to be doing this live and we're going to be addressing this, concept of family dynamics. That what are the conditions? How do I know what are the problems that we face? Why do we face these kind of issues? And you just answer them all, that it is an unresolved pattern with your family, and that makes so much sense.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
so this also answers the question about, when would you realize it's time for a family constellation session, and over any other modality of work. So if you can put us a little more light onto that question, because a lot of them asked us this question of, how do I know I need it, or when would be the right time for me to take a session?
It's interesting. I like your questions, Pooja. Yeah, you know what? My, my clients that I get, they usually people who say will say things like this. I have this conflict. I have done therapy for so many years.
Mm,
The talk therapy, other kinds of therapies.
mm,
I've done so many years of therapy. I have not been able to resolve this conflict. So they come to me, come
yes.
to us.
Mm,
Or they say that I've gone, if it's a health problem,
mm,
they say, I've gone to all kinds of doctors.
mm,
I mean, I've just searched and searched all kinds of medication, but this problem is not going away. And sometimes the doctors tell me that they cannot find actually a physical problem on this. So then they come to me. Yeah. But also other people, not necessarily they have gone to doctors or they have gone to therapies, but it is like they will say, it's a very different kind of a problem is happening. It's like weird, when people say it's a weird problem. And they told me that family constellation resolved that. Like there are happenings that are happening that it's unexplainable.
mm,
Like if I give an example, sometimes I like giving example in my
mm,
talks that helps a lot. For example, somebody come to me and say, I have had accidents.
Mm.
And actually, this is what took me into study family constellation.
Wow.
He comes to me, he's a doctor. He's a doctor. He come to me and he say, you know, I have some kind of a weird thing that I need to resolve. I
Mm.
have had a car accident
Mm.
8 times. All happens in the same place at the same time
Mm.
of the year, of the date, and of the hour.
Mm.
Like the 8th of December at 6 o'clock in the evening, I have an accident in the same place. And this repeats itself 8 times.
Mm.
And actually I don't get hurt, but my car is total. I mean, I cannot use it anymore. I
Mm.
just have to, with this insurance company, I buy another car.
Mm.
And he said, when he gets close to that date, he gets a little scared, but he doesn't do anything about it. And then he goes into it again, the repetitions. So when I was doing somatic experiencing, and people say, well, I think it's something to do with trauma, so you better go and do somatic experiencing. I did somatic experiencing, but um, his nervous system didn't seems to have kept the energy like we were talking about in somatic experiencing, like the fight, flight, frozen energy. It was not there. Hmm.
Wow.
So I was like, this is different. So I said, I need to study a little bit more about this case. So
Mm.
when I was looking into studying about it, wow, somebody told me, this one you resolve in a family constellation. So I went to study it. I went into a workshop. I had a workshop that weekend, and then I came out and I actually was able to attend him, and it worked out perfectly. Then I said, I have to go deeper into this. Then I did myself a training so that I can actually use it
Mm.
well. So yeah, you know what I mean? So when I'm saying things that are very weird, that you cannot explain in a natural way, like what is that? Then that made work in family constellation. Yeah. Apart from all the other explanations that I have given also.
I just love the explanation to this question. When and what would bring us to a session is only when you don't know what it is, when you can't explain it, but you notice something weird, you notice a pattern, and you know that there is some connection, but you don't know what it is. But it is repetitive. It is all over. It is consuming your energy, and and you don't know what to do about it. You have tried to seek help, or it is not resolved, or you don't know where to go or what to do. That's when you come to a family constellation therapist, and that is when you can resolve things, and that is the answer to all your questions there.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Can you tell us a little more about how a family dynamics is supposed to be, and what is it that we look at in a family constellation session, and maybe a couple of concepts so that people understand what we do in a session?
Wow, very nice. Yep. Okay, so before I talk about family dynamic, I
Mm.
want to talk about the what Bert Helling named as the orders of love.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
So, and this is really for me. I always give a little talk before I start the sessions of family constellation, especially with the group. Wow, very
Mhm.
nice. Yep.
Mm.
Okay, so I think you are replaying family dynamic.
Mm.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, that I had my voice replaying back. That's why I can you playing with that. That's all right. That happens.
I know that happens every time, but I don't know, something on the back end just comes up when Efu speaks twice.
I was like, I'm hearing myself. Okay, well, let's go back to the question.
Yes.
So what happens here is like Bert Hellinger created this, came up with this what is called orders of love.
Mm.
Yeah. And the orders of love, they are like I love how he described it in one of his books.
Mm,
It's the symmetry, the hidden symmetry of love. You will find this explanation. How does it said? Uh, okay, so the orders of love that I'm going to explain right now. The
mhm,
orders of love are like the jar
mhm,
that we put water
mm,
and then we put flowers in it.
mm,
So I said the orders of love, it's like the jar itself. It holds everything. And the water in it
mm.
is the love that make the fluidity of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm,
And the
mm,
flowers is the relationship, is us, is the people, it's how we are able to interact with one another. Yeah, it's the human being or the family or the system in itself.
mm,
Yeah, so the three elements. Yeah, I'm going to repeat it again so that everybody can
yes.
understand that. I said that there's orders of love. What are the orders of love?
Mm,
And this is the symbol that he used.
mm,
It's like a jar.
mm,
Yeah, then that's the orders of love. And inside the jar, you have the water, which keeps the flowers from drying and actually make the transparency of it and all that. It's also beautiful. And then the flowers itself will be like the system, the people, the group, the tribe, the clan, the community, the
mm,
system are the people themselves. For them to shine, to appear beautifully, we need the water, which is the love itself. And then this, yeah, okay. So then I'm just going to come out of this symbolic explanation and I give you the explanation as it is. So the orders of love, they're not like laws that came from some guru or some or God send them up to the earth, yeah,
mm,
like laws.
mm,
They are they are patterns of how life should be
mm,
naturally
mm,
that Bert Hellinger observed in the natural world. He also observed this on how the tribal people interact with one another. Yeah, this is the wisdom, you see, how they interact with one another. And so he observed all of this and he thought it's right for love to flow, for the love. We talk so much about love, but it can be really just stuck there. But it need to flow. Love need to flow for life to happen.
mm,
So for this love to flow, then you need these three orders. And these orders are everyone has the right to belong. Everyone and everything actually has the right to belong. If anybody is denied a right to belong, the system disorganized, the flowers dies off.
mm.
Their brightness goes away.
Yes.
The second one is honoring of those who came before us. So we have to bow before them. We have to, and that's just honoring. Sometimes people kind of equate with like honoring somebody with because they did a great job, so you honor them with something. Not this kind of honoring. I'm talking about reverencing. And the word reverencing has some spiritual understanding to it. Yeah. Reverencing means like kind of like seeing the sacredness of the great thing, something really bigger than us.
Mm,
Yeah. So we are reverencing those who came before us.
wow.
And when we reverence those who came before us, everything also flows. Yeah? And when we talk about who came before us, we have mother, father, and all of the ancestors.
Mm,
And then we have also even the elder sisters and the elder brothers, they came before us. So when you go to work too, at your workplace, you see there are people who came before you
mm,
because there's some wisdom in that those who came before have more than those who came later. So when you reverence, when you recognize that, then the love in that system will flow well. Yeah, that's the second. And the third order is like everything in the universe, everything in the family unit has to balance between the receiving and giving.
Wow.
Okay. So in the family, actually, like from this is have a prototype in it. So the prototype of this balancing is that you receive first in order to give. So we as human beings, all of us in our own, we all have families. And in our family, first we receive from
Mm,
the mother and father. You receive what? Love, life, strength from your mother and father. So you receive all of these virtues. And now, when you go out, you grow up. When you're small, you cannot give back to anything to them. You just have to be grateful for what you're receiving. And then you go out, you give what you receive. Yeah. So when you give what you receive with a grateful heart,
mm,
what you give, it's always doubling, tripling. I don't know. You just it have like it's unfolding so in many ways. Yeah?
wow.
So you give what you have received. Now, if you don't know how to say thank you to your mother and father, you don't know how to receive because you feel pity on them because you're proud because you have like some resentment because they didn't give you this and that. If you have those kind of elements, then actually you might not be able to give yourself to the world. Yeah,
Mm,
so that is the third order. And those are, I found that I always tell people, these three orders, when people bring their problems, I always find out which order they have broken, they are not following. And then they go, yes. So then they go back to kind of really uncover this order and their life go back to normal. So this is actually what it's really important. So in a family, you will find that if the family follow this order, you come out of your family well. If now you find a child stay in the place of the father or stay in the place of the mother, yeah, okay, then that's the belonging. It's all wacky. I call the word wacky, yeah. Or you cannot receive, as I said, or you don't want to honor your father because he has many women and he does this and that. Well, that's really none of your business to judge who he is, but you really need to just kind of say, as a father, I know I have something to bow for. As a person, he will deal with his own doings. Yeah. And this is what it is. Yeah. Okay. So probably I went on a little bit because this is very important. The orders of life, of love, they carry everything actually in the family constellation. But it was important to be explained.
Yeah, that makes that's really important because a lot of us do not know or have no understanding or awareness of these, and I think just knowing it changes a lot for us. And as I hear you say this, I remember in one of my sessions, one of my clients asked me this question, and I did not know how to respond to this, and I think this is the right moment for that question. What is the difference between respecting and honoring? Because a lot of the times our clients always, or my clients rather, always say that I respect my parents for what they have done, but so I always bring that awareness to that but and say that means it's not fully there. Like
Yeah.
maybe you're thinking you're respecting, but maybe you're not really respecting, or like being out there. So would you have to say anything about that?
Yes. You know, I always, when people say, I respect my father, I say, yeah, you do. And you should. And you respect everybody else. We should have respect for everybody else. But the word respect is overused actually in the society. When look, well, I respect you, but you stay there and I stay here. I respect you, Dad, but you are you and I am one. So don't tell me anything. Yeah. So we talk about respect as if it's just kind of something when you actually, what I have done oftentimes when people say, I respect my father or I respect my mother,
Well,
I always say, tell me a little bit more about it.
I respect you, Dad, but you are you and I am one. So don't tell me anything. Yeah. So we talk.
So when I ask them to tell me a little bit more about what does this mean, then we find out the difference between respect and honoring. Because exactly, respect is very minimum that we think, okay, that we give to another human person. But honoring, and especially the elders, honoring or reverencing, especially those who came before us, that means I really bow myself. I I make myself humble, which is very hard for many of us. We should be proud of who we are, which is very important. But humble, meaning that I recognize you for who you are. So if recognizing my mother and my father for whom they are, my goodness, it's a lot. Well, like my mother carried me for 9 months in their belly. Even if after they gave birth, they give me to somebody else to raise, that was already enough because that's the whole life. Yeah, it's not a small thing. Yeah. So I cannot say I respect her. That doesn't fit in there. I said I honor this greatness, the goddess herself. I mean, she was like a big belly. When you look at a pregnant woman, you go, wow, look at that big belly. There's a human being growing in there. Well, I say she's the goddess herself, you know? Yeah, so then that's where I said, wow, I want to bow. I want to say, wow, okay? It's not, that's all. I cannot just say, wow, I respect her. It doesn't fit there, yeah? So that's a big difference. The word respect is not enough for mother and father or anybody who come before you. You can use in your peer relationship the word respect. And also honoring. We don't play with the word honoring like, okay, I honor you, Puja. I honor you, so and so. We don't use that in the equal peer relationship. Yeah, then we use respect. Yeah. That yeah. I honor you. It's this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's such a beautiful explanation that just joins a lot of dots already to a lot of things that were coming in my mind when you were saying this, and that's just amazing. One of our viewers has this question about how to deal with controlling parents, or rather, how to deal with parents who find solutions of their problems in their child.
I'm laughing about finding solutions. See again, there we go. Yes. When I, first of all, controlling parents. Well, that's your perspective. We're dealing here with my perspective. I think they are controlling. If I want to go out and I want to come back home at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they say, you know what? Yeah, you are 18, you are 19, you are 20. But if you are in my house, in this house, uh, you cannot come back at this time. They're not controlling. They're just putting orders in their own home. That's the rules of their own house. So I will say, okay, yes. In my father and mother's house, when I go out, so I will ask what time is best to come home. I say, well, up to 10 o'clock, we are still at work, or 11, we're still at work. But 2 o'clock in the morning, no. So I respect, okay, that's where I respect. I respect that. Since I honor them, I'm not going to argue them with them. Okay, see the difference. I respect that opinion because this is who they are and this is how they do this. I cannot really dialogue with them or argue. Dialogue might work out, but I cannot argue with them. Yeah. But then I will say, if I bow before them and I say, Dad and Mom, you know what? I am going to leave this house because I feel that I am grown up now. I ask for your blessing, and I am going to live in a little apartment that I rented from my own money that I'm working. And I ask for your blessing so that I can actually be a human being that is grown up with that. When you do that with honor, they understand that. They let you go. So when you're in your own place, you're going to realize that you will create your own laws of your house. So somebody come to visit you and say, well, I want to do this and this. You say, no, wait a minute. In my house, we cannot do this. Then you say, oh, I'm becoming like my parents. Because that's what it is. So I want to say that they're not controlling, they're just who they are, and they create up their own laws. And you have to follow those while you're small. But when you grow up, you can make a decision to go and have your own place. Yeah. Having said that, I am aware that in India, in some cultures, parents want their kids to stay right within, like you become in your own house, you marry with your wife and everything, you stay in the same house. That is really not healthy. Yeah. Now, I'll give this example. I know people will say, oh, you don't understand our culture. And I know, I mean, I've been in many different cultures, and people always come up with that. But there's a culture of natural world that it's across the world. So if you, a tree, look at the mango tree. Yeah, India has mangoes, so I can use this example of mangoes, yeah? So the mango tree, it's huge, right? And some mangoes fall off the tree and they fall on the ground. And, some of them just start growing right. I mean, the ants ate them right there, and it started germinating and it started growing under that big tree. Fall, and then some we come, that Efu and Puja come and pick them up. I bring them to Brazil, and you bring them to another state. And then you eat the mango, delicious mango, and then you plant the seed in a very nice place. So, wow, this mango says, I want to have it. So you plant it, it grows. And I come with that mango, I eat it here, and I plant it here. It grows. So which mango will grow better? The one that is under the huge tree, that there's no more space up here for it to grow. There's no air for it. There's no sun for it. The ones I took far away, there's a space for it. The one which is under that tree, there's no, because it will always look at the bigger one. And so which one do you think it will grow better?
Definitely the one that had more space to grow, the sunlight, the air, and the one that took
Exactly.
the room.
Yes, that's example from the nature. So that's not a culture. Yeah, because if I say, what about this culture and that no, this is the culture of the nature. And it's a logic. So, I've told this example to so many people. And when they go home, they say, well, my parents do not want me to leave the house because they want me to live there. They want me to marry, to just stay there. I said, well, tell them this. And then they come back, they said, yeah, when I told my mother this, she goes, oh, okay. But you feel like you're grown up, then okay. You know what I mean? Because it's really, the parents will be the parents, and will look at you always as a little child. So you are there married with your wife and children, and you're still being treated as a little child. Yeah. But when you go far, you can come back to visit them. I'm not saying you don't have to go to Brazil or you have to go to another state. I mean, it's just a little bit of space over there where there's sun for you. You have your own place to grow. You will actually grow as much as your mother and father grow. You will never grow more than them,
Mm.
because that first mango tree is always going to be bigger and bigger. This is where you honor them. But you will grow to your extent
Yes.
of reproducing much.
Yes.
Yes, so this example helped those people to say that, well, my parents are very controlling and this. No, I have to respect them while I am with them and honor them for who they are, and not be fighting with them out with my opinions and my own perspectives.
Mm.
But when I am out there, I can play my own perspective out there.
Mm. That's a very interesting perspective because I think yeah, that just makes so much sense to me. That similar example just puts in a lot of I don't know, it just makes me feel so settling when I listen to that. So because I'm sure a lot of people who make this choice, but don't know why, when, how, and when questioned upon, they have no answer, but they just know this is what feels right to them. But what you're
Yeah.
saying just brings that awareness to why we did what we did and why we, feel the way we feel. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, if when we talk about this receiving and giving between the relationship of parents and children, we always talk about receiving as children because we are small and they are big.
Yeah.
But when we come into the reality of world with this awareness, a lot of people feel very confused, or sometimes they don't know how this entire gesture of returning this, because a lot of children come with this thought or baggage. I don't know what to call it, but I have to do for my parents. I have to take care of them. I have to be there for them. I have to do this. I have to do that. If I am not there, then who? My parents are old. This is what I should be doing. A lot of this comes up more as a sense of responsibility or a thought or an emotion of returning what your parents have done for you. I don't know. I have whatever understanding I have, but it would be great to listen from you how you would like to put this across, because we always understand that receiving from parents is very important, but we don't know how this returning back or care or love is. I know that we have to care for our parents knowing that we are a child and we are just caring for them as a child, but I'm sure there's much more that you'd want to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, that is a frequent question everywhere in every culture. Yeah. But the parents, they, yes, let's begin with that understanding that they are big, we are small, and we will always be small to them.
Yes.
When you receive with a grateful heart, you're already giving back. Most of the parents are really happy to have a son or daughter who will say, Dad, Mom, you are great. You did everything well. I'm so happy with who I am. Look, I don't have much, but I'm just very happy with who I am today. And I know with your blessing, I'm going to get more. The parents are happy with that. They feel very satisfied in their heart. Yeah. Now, when I look at okay, so look at this their psychological point of view here. That's my perspective again. I look at my parents and I say, poor my mother. She was always so poor. She always worked in the market, walked barefoot, and she had nothing. I am going to make sure that she come out of that poverty.
Mm. Mm.
So I think she's suffering. And actually, I have this perception as a little child, from a little child. And I look at her, I cannot say thank you for the food that she searched from the garbage and gave it to me. I cannot say thank you for the the day she toiled, she went out and worked very hard and she's sweating and she comes home, but she has something to give me. And I survive. I cannot say thank you. See what I mean? It's that place of gratefulness, gratefulness. I cannot receive because I'm so busy with looking at her poverty and her suffering. So when I grow up, like I'm 7, 8, 9 years old. I really already want to go to the street to beg to help my mother. Somehow, when I am trying to make myself so big, my mother starts seeing me big too.
Mm.
So they revert because this is how I'm making myself to be. I have to make myself so big so that when I grow up, I just have to take my mother out of suffering. But sometimes the mother is also very happy to do what they do for their children to survive. And when you are grateful, then they say, it was worth it what I did.
Mm.
It was worth it what I went through. Because I have a daughter who survived, or a son who survived, and they're very grateful. And that's enough for me. Some of them say, I can die now because you lived and you will always live and life will go on. This is really the dynamic goes well this year. But when it is turned around, it's going to be the game. You can never actually change your mother and your father. The poverty will continue of you trying to help them constantly, and it will never get enough. Why? I look at the mother as the as the ocean, the sea. I look at the father as a mountain. So if the father is the mountain, if you pick up water from below the mountain and you want to make it climb the mountain, will the water climb the mountain? It's a waste of energy. You can use your technology and pump this water up. It will cost you quite a bit, but it might not be able to go high up enough. So father and all the ancestors, they are like mountains. It could be a mountain that is full of things that you will question, and it could be a mountain that is dry, has nothing on it. It's all desert. It's a mountain. It's big.
Yeah.
It could be a mountain beautiful, full of wonderful trees and nice things to look at. It's a mountain. It could be a mountain full of snakes and rocks and and thorns and all that. It's a mountain, but you cannot climb it because it's too rough. So what you can do is just look at it and with awe and honor it. Yeah. So that's how it is. The ocean too, mother, an example. The waves of the ocean are so high sometimes, and sometimes it's very calm. So when you see these high waves, would you say, quit ocean, these waves are too much, quit? You can't. You just have to stay away from it. And when the waves kind of stop, maybe you might want to go not too deep. You don't go too deep in the ocean, it will swallow you. You just stay on the edge here and enjoy the warmth of the water right on the periphery. Yeah, because it's deeper. They are deeper. Our parents have a deeper spirituality, spiritual energy. I'm not talking about them praying or them going to the temple every day, but there's something holy about the time, the body that is aging in time. And if we are able to just look at that and receive instead of wanting to transform it. So because what we have to do really, I have grown bigger. I've grown in my head though. I've grown, I have a lot of technology. I can simplify things. I can do the better. I have a lot of money. And I want to change. I want to modify my mother and my father. You can't. When you bow yourself in front of them, they are happy. If you're bigger than them, then they said, okay, if you want to give us because you're bigger, we can just say. Last thing I want to say about that, remember, if you look at your parents, and you will see their parents behind them, then you recognize that, yeah, I do not have to give them anything because those behind them, they came before me. and they can actually give everything that I cannot. So receiving is the key thing, and making yourself small is the key thing. You go back to the laws back and forth, to the orders of love back and forth, in order to understand this. But it is a frequent asked question, you know.
But Ifu, the question that I still, I don't know if it was answered or I missed it, but something that still remains with me is people asking, so does that mean we are not supposed to be there for our parents? So does that mean if my old mother or old father needs my help, I say I don't want to give you because I'm smaller than you? Or how does this work? But I understand it's a very emotional and a space, and it's a perception that you think from. It's not an action that we're really talking about. But people have this, question. So if you can maybe answer that specifically for us.
Yes. You know, I'm not saying that you cannot care for them when they grow old. I want to be very clear about this,
Yes.
because this, I mean, I get this when I'm teaching. This question come up 1,000 times.
Yes.
No matter how much you explain it, it doesn't go across, you know. But now I want to say it again. Listen carefully. Uh, when I have to take care of my parents because they are old, I need to do it with the attitude of that I'm not being now their parents. I am still a child, and I can do very little. I can do very little. I can feed my mother, but when I'm doing that, if I feed her standing, like I'm now bigger than her, she can actually start playing with me and spit the food on my face because she's playing with me. She sees me. But Helen used to say, I read in one of his books, he said, you know, you're with your mother trying to take care of them, and you're playing bigger than them. You say, I'm like your mother now, your father. They look at you as you're 5 years old. So they start playing a 5-year-old game with you. So they spit the food on your face, they start like kind of trying to beat you. They do all this. So then you start getting very frustrated. They don't take it. But if I bow down, I kneel down and I give them, I say, Mom, this is very, compared to what you have given me, this is very small that I can give you. It's a little service. It's a small service. Yeah. So I can do that. But I want to say something this public that very, very interesting here. I think across the cultures, if I have to give birth to my mother, if you are a woman, it might even be possible, but she will still feel very uncomfortable with that. Imagine a man that they don't, you say, okay, this is just a son. You want to give a birth to your mother, a son. She'll feel very uncomfortable,
Mm.
even if she has Alzheimer.
Mm. Mm.
These are the things I talk about that we don't bear in mind that. Um, so I always say that if you, as a family, the children can talk about and say, can we have somebody
Mm.
like a friend or a nurse or whatever, take care of mom and dad, and we can pay, we can all as children contribute and pay this person. And then they can take care of her necessities, the basic necessities like feed her, give her birth, bath, give her medication and all that. And then we go there as children to chit chat with her and listen to her wisdom, to sit and look at her and say, Mama, tell us that story. Like connect, really connect as children now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And not worrying about giving and giving and giving. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when okay, if I see, I said, sometimes say, okay, I have money and my parents have always lived in in nothing almost. Yeah, I can actually one-time thing. I can buy them a house, but that I'm not taking away from what I will use with my wife and my children. from doing that, over suddenly the system disorganizes itself. But if I just say, yeah, this is a necessity, basic necessity. Mom and dad, you gave me so much. I'm just sharing a tiny bit. I'm not giving back. I don't use the word giving back because you never give back life. But I'm just giving little tiny thing that from your blessing I have. And I'm just sharing something. Yeah. And they take it and they're very happy. And that's it. And they still want to continue giving you because they feel bad that now that my children have to be giving me. So, okay, are those examples enough now?
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense because now I get that clarity to be able to, or I don't know if the others also get the clarity that, it's the perception that matters, that no matter what you're giving cannot be equal to or more than what you have received from them. So, no
No.
matter you're taking care of them, you're being there for them, you're financially supporting them, is only a teeny bit of what you have received that you are sharing with them. And that
Yes.
is what it matters. It's not about I am doing so much for them, I am helping them, I am being there for them. That's not what it is. But you
Yeah.
can do what you do, little or more, but can never be equal to or more than what you have received from them. And that is the perception we have to hold as children, as small as people who have come from them. That we can only do what we can, and that will always be very little, and that is what is important for us to remember and hold as a perception when we are being there for them.
Exactly. And I will add into that, and that remove the guilt. We don't, sometimes we are giving out of guilt too, because oh, they gave me so much, I have to give them back. That's not good. So don't, if you give out of the guilt, it will never fulfill the purpose. So you give, remembering that this is very tiny compared to what you gave me. So I'm still being grateful in that sense. And
Yeah.
I'm not proud that I give you all of this, because
Yes.
it will never be enough.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Makes sense. There are a couple of questions that our viewers have. Should we take them one by one?
Okay.
So, one of our viewers has this question: is it necessary to bow down? I mean, I have, or we have, a lot of love and respect. Some may not be very expressive about it. Is it necessary to really bow down physically? But I do feel.
Yes. Yeah. The bowing down physically, it's very important because it makes you small. It's a symbol, a gesture. You might not, after you bow down enough, you might already change your attitude. That when your attitude, the way you speak, the way you approach them, it's enough. That yeah, they know, mom knows that I really honor her. My
Mm,
dad also know, and I feel small
mm,
compared to them. But oftentimes that's very hard to arrive to that place. You must be very enlightened to arrive to that place. Bowing, it makes us small, literally small.
mm, mm,
And that helps. I tell people some. This is, I love examples. An example that a student of mine was saying that no, but I'm taking care of my mother who live in the rural area and I live in the city, and I'm always making phone call to check if she took her medication and to check if she does this. I'm taking care of her this way. I go there and bring all the medication and bring everything, but I call and say, Mom, did you take the medication today? And
mm,
mom is always saying,
mm,
what? Up. I'll talk to you later. I'm watching my telenovela right now. And then she gets very mad. Mom doesn't want to talk to me. And then she calls again another time. Oh, daughter, what do you want now? I just want to know if remind you about your medication. Oh my God, again. All right, yeah. Okay, ciao. Bye. And then she said, she's always acting very, and I'm fighting with her all the time.
mm,
Okay. So she said, what do I do? That's this question. I said, okay, I want you to try this. It's very silly gesture, but it worked. When you pick up the phone, you want to call your mother, sit on the floor, make yourself small, and then make a phone call. And when you make yourself small, you say, yes, I'm small, she's big. And then you call, say, before you ask for medication, here in Brazil, especially in the Northeast, they have a very beautiful phrase whenever they want to talk to their parents. The first thing they said, Mom, I ask you for your blessing, or Dad, I ask you for your blessing. That's the greeting, that equivalent to that. Mom, can I have your blessing, please? So this woman, when she was always standing there and demanding the mother, she never says that, which is really, it sounds so good in their parents' ear. Yeah. This day, she actually sat down, and that came naturally. She said, Mom, can I have your blessing? Oh, she said, oh, my wonderful daughter, God bless you. And one of she said, and you know what? She started talking naturally, spontaneously. I'm doing so well. And I went to my neighbor and she gave me these leaves and I did some tea with it. And that was very helpful. And you know what? Actually, that's why I could never tell you what happened to the medication. I threw them out because I didn't need them anymore. And those medication, I felt like every time I took them, they were making me feel dizzy and my stomach was not well. So I went to my neighbor and I told her, and she said, you know what? This tea is nice and it's light. Take this. So I took it and I feel so good. So don't worry about me, okay? I'm doing well. And God bless you to whatever you're doing, my daughter. The conversation was fluid and she told the truth to the daughter. And she said, don't worry about it. And she blessed her daughter. Okay? She did the blessing. Okay, this is what I'm saying. I love examples because you explain everything. Okay,
Yes.
that's what it is. Yeah, all the time. Yeah, you bend yourself down. And again, one last thing I want to say about bowing, lying down, or sitting down. When you are standing up, you're tightening up, and you're looking at them, and you're trying to be bigger. You tighten up your muscles. When you can try that, and I work with the clients every time their head keep going back like that, and I say, can you allow your head to just? It seems like it wants to come forward. Just allow a little bit. When they do that, the deep breath come in. Your muscles, your neck muscles relaxes. Your shoulders relaxes when you bow down. There is a benefit into that. I make myself small. If I cannot do it with my head, my body helps me to do it. So it does help. That. Yeah.
Interesting. And we also have a couple of people. One of our clients recently said this that I have done everything in my power to be there for my children, to be there for my parents, to be there for my partner. I've done everything, but my children don't do anything for me in return. I just feel so alone, and like they don't do anything. They never take care of me. And what am I supposed to do?
Well, that's it. Do you see? That's it. When I say, when you are trying to give to your parents, you're busy giving, you don't receive. And when you don't receive, you become empty. This is what she's feeling right now. She goes and tries. Actually, when she said, I give everything to the husband, I mean, he doesn't even receive it because it's nagging, actually. I'm doing for you, I'm doing for you, I'm doing for you. They cannot even be, right? I'm doing for my children. Well, you don't have to do anything. You are the mother, you are big. Just your greatness, your children are satisfied. You do what you do as a mother. You go out, you get food for them, you get everything. I mean, that's good enough. You don't have to run around doing everything. So her emptiness comes from not receiving from the mother and father because she was busy doing for them. Now I send them back now. I say, now start all over again. Go to your mother and father and honor them and receive and accept what was given and say thank you and all of that. And then you start feeling your heart fill up and you let go of your children. Don't ever ask anything from your children. When you keep asking your children to give you something you're really needy, that you're in trouble. Your children run away from you and they feel bad. You make them feel guilt that they cannot give. So as a therapist, please send send anybody who has that kind of problem back to their parents.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a very wonderful statement because if you do not receive from them and you're always feeling that you're giving, that's where you feel very empty and that sense of neediness might come. And Ifu is Ifu. She always has answers. That's amazing. That's amazing. Wow. And do you have anything to give away to our watchers here today? For the people who are watching us live, as a practice or as a ritual that they can do every day to maybe be, we know we have to honor, we know we have to bow down, we know we've heard a lot of things about the dynamics and everything from you today. But what is that one ritual maybe that people can carry away so that they can feel this, they can experience this in whatever way they can?
I I will say what I do for myself as a teacher, as a therapist. I'm constantly doing this. I mean, even though I've done this for many years, but I still do this. But I'm constantly reminding myself that there are some people bigger than me.
Mm, mm,
I don't worry too much about those who are smaller than me because they'll come to me. But
mm,
I know there are some people who came before me. And let me say in good English. I always have some people who came before me.
mm,
And those are my parents, my great, and my ancestors,
mm,
my teachers,
mm,
the places where I arrived and I have found people there, the spaces that I arrived and I found them there. So I always remind myself to have this heart of always receiving and honoring.
mm,
Like I come to a space where we're going to do our meeting,
mm,
our workshop.
mm,
I really always look at my ritual. I know sometimes you do all these things, you spray and clean out the ambience and all that. My first cleaning of ambience is I honor this space because it was here before I arrived. And I'm very grateful that this space is going to hold us for 3 days. And
mm,
it will keep us well,
mm.
contained, and peacefully. I bear in mind that always. Even the hotel, I go to a hotel room. I always look at that room. I said, I honor this room. You were here before I arrived, so please receive me and bring me comfort as I'm here. So that's it. And when I remember my parents, I'm always say, yes, thank you, my parents, for making me who I am today. Whatever I do, I'm constantly remembering to thank you. I'm proud of who I am. Thank you, my parents, for that. So the constant attitude of a grateful heart, yeah, of what is already being given. And I think more comes to me as I'm always grateful for that,
Yes,
And
when you
I
pay
think,
attention is what grows, and so gratefulness is one of the best places to be.
yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful. Yeah.
Last question, Ifu, that somebody in the viewers has asked is, how do we break or cut this ongoing family pattern? I mean, I'm aware about it, but equally trapped. What can I do?
A family constellation. Look for Puja and other people right there.
Yes, totally, definitely.
We
Ah,
have tell them we have many people who were in the same class with you who are doing now a lot of practices,
yes,
and they are doing sessions. So look, there are a lot of therapists now around there where you are.
yes,
So tell them to look for the therapist. That's it.
yes.
Or family constellation that will break the pattern.
Definitely. Wow. Wow. This was just like, I think, like that path breaking conversation to really understand. And, I think this just makes a lot clear about how when you're holding so much, they have physical manifestations in your body, right? I mean, emotions, after all, are expressed in the body. And, if you're holding so much emotion, that means you're holding so much even in the body. And that is how the entire bit of somatic experiencing and family constellation play like a seesaw together, that both of them are equally needed to be able to maybe blossom out of whatever you're experiencing just now. And yeah.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we did this. Yes.
Yes.
Mm.
Thank you so much, Ifu. It was so wonderful, having to address so many issues and talk about a lot of concepts that are very new. And so many times we are bounded with the culture, we are bounded with what, they say, but maybe a lot of us never pay attention to why they said what they said. And we just stick to what they said in our own perception and entangle ourselves into a lot of it. So I think this really cleared out a lot of those misunderstandings or misperceptions, and that was really amazing to have your insight about all of this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pooja. I'm very happy and glad to be sharing that. And I hope this will benefit a lot of people. Yeah,
Mhm.
in your area there.
Definitely,
Okay.
definitely. Thank you, Ifu. Let's connect,
Thank you.
and I'm
Thank
really
you.
grateful for having this conversation with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay. Namaste.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.